Let's get to the Philadelphia Eagles links. 25 years after buying Eagles, it's clear Jeff Lurie's a Philly guy. NBCSPIt took 23 years, but in 2017 Lurie finally realized his dream and got to raise the Lombardi Trophy after the Eagles beat the Patriots in Super Bowl LII in Minneapolis. Lurie has devoted the latter half of his life to the Eagles. You can make the case that no single person has meant as much to the franchise. He's put down roots here and committed himself to what's best for the franchise, when it comes to hiring in the front office, signing top free agents, building state-of-the-art facilities. He's overseen the franchise during unprecedented growth. The franchise, he bought for $195 million, is now worth an estimated $2.8 billion. The Eagles are among the NFL's most successful franchises any way you measure it. The biggest criticism of Lurie when he arrived here 25 years ago today was that he was an outsider. Turns out he's just as Philly as the rest of us. Mediocre is not bad, BGN. From a talent perspective, no, the Eagles aren't set. But from a roster perspective, where is a high draft pick going to play? Darby and Mills are the starters. Maddox is going to get his playing time, though it may be at safety. Jones and Douglas aren't going anywhere this year. LeBlanc might have been a flash in the pan last year, but even if he is, I just listed 5 guys ahead of him on the depth chart. If at some point on day 3 of the draft there is a corner available that is head and shoulders ahead of the rest of their board, sure, grab him, especially if it's a guy who can play safety. As we saw last year, you can never have enough depth. But this team has bigger draft needs. That's what people mean when they say they're set. An early look at the Eagles' 2020 free agents. Philly voice Jalen Mills. Mills is an interesting player to watch in terms of how the team views him going forward. Jim Schwartz values him more than anyone. Is his future at corner or safety? What is his realistic market, and what does Mills think his market will be? Those could be 2 very different things. Here's why I think Eagles shouldn't and won't pick a cornerback in the first round. NJ.com. Let them grow. The Eagles have now drafted 4 cornerbacks in the last 3 drafts: Mills, Jones, Douglas and Maddox. They are all young, have flash talent and deserve the chance to develop and, for at least the latter 3, become the players they were drafted to be. Jones in particular deserves a little more leeway. His rookie season was a wash due to a pre-draft injury. He didn't stay healthy as a sophomore, but that was his real rookie season. Give the kid a chance. I've said this before in discussions, and it was part of the philosophy when I was there. Clearly something Howie Roseman is carrying forward. Good players coming off a bad year are the best values in free agency. Just like bad players coming off a good year are the biggest mistakes in free agency. Example, I think right or wrong, clearly, Kansas City does not think Dee Ford is a great defensive end. I think they think he's probably a pretty good player coming off a great year and got money as if he was a great player. So, those are the biggest mistakes when you watch free agency. Nick Jackson has been a very good player and he had a very bad year. So, I'm intrigued by that. It fits the formula of guys who come through free agency, get paid decent money but don't blow away your cap, and actually come out and have a big impact. Now, he could come out and play like he did last year. But to me, this is a very well calculated risk with a chance to have a lot of upside. So, I thought that was a very good move. Meet the prospect, RB Devin Singletary. Pay.com. Devin Singletary was very productive during his college career, but will it carry over to the NFL? Fran Duffy takes a look and meet the prospect. This can't be real. How Browns pulled off Odell Beckham Jr. Trade. ESPN. While Cleveland exulted, New York came to a grudging acceptance that one of the NFL's best players would be leaving, and the Giants had the appearance of a train without a conductor. A dream in the mind of Browns general manager John Dorsey, the Beckham trade came together the night before NFL free agency began, after more than a year of whispers. the Giants jettisoned their talented receiver, with the reluctant approval of owner John Mara. This was a trade that happened quickly, but was laid out in advance. It was a trade that one team initially wasn't eager to make, but the other pushed to complete. Depending on the point of view, it came about through planning and patience, diligence and duty. It involved a long-time friendship, a furious day of discussions, the Giants' unwillingness to make last-minute phone calls about Beckham, and the San Francisco 49ers, who left the entire process disappointed. Ask a former NFL player, how would you change the off-season schedule? SB Nation training camp is vastly different, too. No more two-a-days, mandatory days off, and shorter time spent in camp. This schedule is awesome for veterans. It keeps them fresh. I'm never going to advocate for anything different. However, the gameplay would clearly improve if players hit more in camp. I'm not sure two-a-days are needed, but I think coaches should use their training camp time to hit more often. We've seen the teams that hit in camp succeed in the playoffs, like the Chiefs, Patriots, and Eagles. Secondly, it's ridiculous that coaches aren't allowed to talk or coach ball during the months between the end of the season and the first day of the off-season program. If players want to be in the facility, they should be allowed to meet with the coaches and get on the field with them. This would be so helpful for younger players who need the extra practice time and/or reps. Social media information, BGN Facebook page, click here to like our page. BGN Twitter, follow at Bleeding Green. BGN Manager, Brandon Lee Godin, follow at Brandon Godin. BGN Radio Twitter, follow at BGN_radio.